Hello, this is Mensaflow here, a continuing series on frequently asked questions on this particular topic of how do you embed your Mensaflow chat box into your particular system or your website, etc., etc. We're going to go through some basic concepts here. We're showing here first is the chat box that's embedded into our website here. It's not the traditional in the corner, but it is kind of embedded as a specific, similar to like ChatGPT. And of course, this is in Rack. We'll show a little bit more of this. So first of all, one of the first things you're going to have to do is get your workspace configured from either your standard Pro or Enterprise solution. And what you're going to find once you have signed up an account, you have your workspace here. It's Mensaflow, where the host server is, the embed code, and for API keys, that's for Pro and Enterprise server accounts to do other things. But you won't need the API key to do the embed of the chat box. So getting back to the different types of chat box, again, this is the kind of the embedded chat box, which is kind of embedded into a web page. And we have on here is kind of an example of how the chat box appears in the lower, in this case, lower right hand corner. You can change this configuration. You can change the bubble type here. And upon coming in, it tends to make a beep sound unless, because the browsers don't allow the beep sounds unless you've manipulated the screen before. That's a restriction of the browser. But we won't show that, but it does beep if you have some kind of activity on the screen. Otherwise, they don't like to have kind of like an annoyance, and so this is kind of a thing. So if we click this, we get this typical chat box that comes open on the corner. So you can embed a chat box here, and this is a typical example of how that might look. A couple things here to notice is that there's different on the menu system here. You can have chat box local, automated, where you can actually do voice interaction. Different language. We support English, French, and Spanish. You can go dark mode, light mode, and contact support, and there's basically each one of these has a session ID. So this is kind of the standard chat box. Again, going back to here, this was actually embedded. You have this similar thing in terms of the menuing system here, different types of commands that you can have. So with that, so let's figure out how to embed this. First off, let's take a look at some of the options. Here, if you go to the frequently asked questions on our website, this is the same display you have, and these are the different options you have, so you can do all kinds of things, as well as you can use CSS to style the chat box and slice and dice and make julienne fries, whatever you want in terms of the CSS. We've actually gone out of our way and put a few hooks in there in terms of IDs, so you can use as selectors to better control what the look and feel of the chat box might be. So there's some helps there if you want to get into more detail about how you don't like certain things. But these are kind of the basic. One of the things I wanted to highlight here on a couple of these options, of course, obviously you have the embed code that we talked about. You have to install there so it knows who you are. You can have the default language here. It's defaulted to French, but you can have English or French or Spanish. And you can, there's a thing here where if you switch to language, it'll give you a little message or not, depending on how you set it. Of course, here's one that's the window mode. This is the chat box. You can either have chat box or the chat window. This tells it the software whether or not to make it as a little icon in the corner or a chat box window similar to what you might see in ChatGPT, similar things like that. Here's the plus, a chat box, different kinds of icons that you can have. And it's container size, colors. You can put change the chat box, logos and things, text size. You can also control whether it pops open on load or the number of seconds after it drops on load. And of course, some more configurations here. And of course, this is where the embed widget is coming from. So those are required. Let's give you a little idea. And of course, if you do have a chat window, you need to give it a div, and this is the idea of the div that it'll put in, as opposed to if it doesn't have that, it'll append an element to the bottom of your web page. So let's get into that web page and take a look at what it might look like. Here we're going to our Visual Studio. Here's a basic HTML. We suggest to put the code at close to the bottom in case you have a loading issue. Of course, there's not much on this. It's just a test page, so it's all very quick. And here's the way you embed. These are the options I put in here. And of course, here's the servers and the source of the widget, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, I don't have a lot here, but These are the different things you can have, and that's similar to what we've shown here previously. So this is how you embed it in there. It's just a simple script tag, and that's it. And you put it close to the slash body tag, and you're good. We also give an example, and of course it's downloadable on our website, how you can actually integrate it into a React component. And we've exposed to the initialization of it, and so this is basically loading a script file, the same kind of deal there. And of course this is actual code from our Mensaflow website, which is a React, and it does the initialization of the chat box, etc., and destroying of the chat box as you move from different parts of your application if you're using React. So you can download this particular file from the frequently asked questions web page. So that's basically it. There's no real secrets to this. It's pretty straightforward. You can go to our website again, check out the box, and test out these different features here, the different things you can do with the widget itself. And we'll have more videos on this in our continuing series. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the like button, and we'll be back soon.